time has come. The big reveal. And I'm happy with it. After over a month and a half of work, 50 plus hours. I better be. So there's no more time to waste. Let's get on this. Let me reveal this for you. Let me show it to you. Yeah, it's way past time here. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you hidden. So I'm going to take this off the. I started with this right here. And then I moved, I believe the second session was this area right in here, which I went back in and messed with. Yeah, enhanced it a bit. And let's see. Then I worked on this area here, I believe. And then I moved down into this area right in there. And oh, this part right here came, I think, the same session as that, and that little dot up there. Then I moved, I think, into this area here. The light shining on this will reveal a lot of the odd texture that Ballpoint pen has provided with this session. Yeah, then this I waited on for some time. I think I might have drawn the outline there. At some point I worked on this little tuft area, and I moved down here. This part was 2 or 3 sessions, I believe, just right in here, and then moved down there. This I did, all of this in here, I did off camera. Took a long time. That was like 2 hours. And there was a little bit of odd things happening in here that I wasn't quite happy with. Man, this part took a long time, and it continued to take a long time. I worked on it again just today, tidying things up. By the way, this, I added a little bit larger hump there on the right side. You can see it. If you contrast that with yesterday's session, you'll see it's a little different. Much happier, much more like I had originally designed it. Then I worked on this area. I really like that area, actually. Let me zoom in a bit. This is one of the more successful areas, the middle part there. And this part over on the left came after. It looks like 2 dogs facing off. Look at that. It really does to me. All right. Then I believe I started, I believe I went up in here. That took some time. Yeah, there were some odd things happening up in here as well that didn't quite align with what I had originally designed, but I ended up making it work. But this was a little different. Then up in there, I worked, and this extension out here. Oh, I believe I went around like that. I'm not sure if this or this came. I don't remember. Oh. Oh. I worked on this in one session only. And then this part was actually a bit hard. A little difficult. That turned out nicely. All right. I don't remember when I did that. And I returned to this area in here, and I recall quite a long session. That little dot right there was fun, in that I expected it to have a gradient, like much like that, or let's say like this a little bit. See the gradient on there? And I kept messing with it, and I ended up just making it as it is in the original. Same with this one here. It turned out well, but it was touch and go for a while. Yeah, so I worked on, depending on how the light shines, you can see all the little imperfections. Warts and all. Okay, so then then I went over here and I worked on this, and yeah, I filled in all the line work for these bits. So it was just the line work without any black opaque in there. Then I went over here, worked my way down in one session on that. This one, this was my least favorite part to work on. I thought it would be better. I didn't think it would be a favorite, but yikes. It still gives me headaches. This and this gradient. Usually gradients are either very beautiful or disastrous. And this turned out all right finally. But man, up in here was... I'll explain that in a minute, about the way that the pen works on this page, this type of paper. It's something. It's a tricky thing. It's a stress builder. All right, so yeah, I did this in one session. And I was messing around with this side here, I was going against the design. The design had it as it is now, but I was thinking maybe I'll have a little bit of gradient in there. Once you fill it in, it's done, right? So I was thinking, well, while I got it open, I'll just try to see what happens and see if I like it. And if I don't, then I'll just fill it in. But that was kind of a mistake, I believe. You need to go for it. You need to do what you set out to do, and then you know what? Scratch what I just said. Everything is a big experiment. How are you going to know until you try, right? Then I moved over into here, and this one took about 3 sessions, I believe. A lot longer than I expected. The whole thing, obviously, took a lot longer than I expected. This I worked a bit on today because it was not quite right, and I think I finally cracked it. I returned to this area up in here before doing this, or actually in the second session, I believe, of this. And I really like the way that this ball turned out. This is one of the better Look at that, it's just a round circle as opposed to the square circles. But this is when it was dicey. And let's see, I went back and worked some of this area again and enhanced it more. This part here, I believe, was 1 or 2 sessions. Got some reflection, implied reflection going on there. Yeah, I like that part. It's not exactly as it was originally designed, but yeah, turned out all right. Down in here is real fun. This is interesting. Looks kind of like a guitar neck. This is a part that was completely filled in the original. And I left it open because I thought, as I was doing this, I hadn't filled it in yet, and I thought, oh, it looks pretty cool, I like it, so I left it. And I'm happy I did. That is a happy alternative. Yeah. And then these here, the original, they're white with an outline around it. Didn't like it. Filled it in. Happy I did. I think it's much better. Oh, my finger was in the way. There are some other things that I didn't include. This was a bit of a modification of the original. The original went kind of like this, and it wasn't quite right. Didn't care for it, so I changed it. I like that, almost like a leaf coming out. Let's see. Oh, there was going to be something in there that I omitted, and I omitted something up here as well. I like the open space, so I didn't put what originally was in there. Yeah. And I titled it Hidden because the face, if you do see a face, is not immediately recognized, I guess. But there it is. Now, the pen on this paper is fairly thick. It's not thin like typewriter paper, it's more like poster board paper. It's quality paper. But it has a certain characteristic that I don't particularly like. It's not that it's too smooth, because smoother, I believe, is better. And it's called, I believe it's a type of cold press. No, sorry, that's a hot press. A cold press has a texture, better for painting watercolor and whatnot, pencil. But there's just something about it goes on nice, and then it doesn't. And there's a strange approach you have to take. You can't go over an area too much, otherwise the surface of the paper gives and it starts to like almost tear apart from the surfaces below. Whereas with common typewriter paper, you can really do your magic on there. But then there's the trade-off there is that as you add more ink to the page, it starts to buckle, and that's obviously not good. It's a characteristic of the human touch, and so the flaws are actually can be considered valuable if you're so inclined to feel that way. So yeah, Hidden lot of work went into this one. And I'm happy it's finished. And thanks for coming along on the journey with me. I really appreciate it.